Hey, I'm back. This is Chandler for Melda Production. Last week I showed you how to get rid of noise and hum from your guitar signals, but today I'm going to show you how you can get rid of those squeaking sounds that are really annoying when your fingers slide over the strings. Now this can sometimes be really bad. Sometimes you have a great recording and you don't even notice it, but sometimes it's really bad. Of course you can manually edit these out, and sometimes that's even for the best. Other times it's nice to just get rid of them or reduce them a little bit in the signal so you don't notice them. And that's what I'm going to show you how to do here. So we have I'll show you two different examples. It's very similar to what I did last time, but let me let you hear it. Here's the first example. You hear the beginning and the end. I'm doing lots of things with my hands, so you're hearing lots of noise. What we want to do is, actually first, before we do that, unbypass this. We're going to go into default. Move this here. I'm going to turn off processor 1. I'm going to turn down the attack, because usually these are pretty fast. I'm going to turn down the release too, although you can kind of play with that if you want. I'm going to go in here, and what we want to do is just loop this, and we can find that high frequency squealing we get when we're moving our hands over the strings, and we just want to capture it. Okay, so hopefully we have it there. As I showed you before, you can't really see it here because the noise is so low in level, but hopefully this will be okay. Before, you saw me move the loop over, and that's because I heard a thud. I don't want any low-end information that you sometimes get if you tap the string. We don't want any of that there. We just want the squealing. Now what we're going to do is add a gate here. Keep in mind this will probably also take out some of that low-level noise just like last time, but I'm going to use the gate for this. We're going to move it all the way down to -80, and then we'll just move it up as we loop it until we hear that squealing go away, like this. Then you still hear kind of like a whoop sound in there. Now, of course, we could edit that out. I'm going to leave that in because if we move the threshold up high enough, of course, we can get rid of that. However, when you're doing this, I've found that sometimes it can take away from the high end, and I want to leave as much high end and other things in the signal as possible. So we're going to reduce as much as we can, but sometimes we don't even want to get rid of it because I don't want to damage the actual audio. So here we go. Let's listen to the whole thing all the way through. Now for me, that's sounding pretty good, and I'm not hearing too much damage to the audio. I'll loop the whole thing, and I'll turn it on and off before, just to check it like I showed you in the other video. Here we go, and we're going to bypass it and unbypass it so we can hear it before and after. Okay, I didn't loop it, but hopefully as you could hear as I bypassed and unbypassed it, it's not doing too much to the high end. So this, like I said, I could live with. There's sometimes I didn't notice it, or even when I did notice, I was like, that's not too bad actually. So this is somewhat of an extreme case. What we have here is lots of string noise at the beginning and the end, but not much in between. This is the easiest case. Now let's move on to a more difficult case. I'll let you hear this. Let me go back to default and bypass it. This is a more difficult case where we're going to hear the string noise in between me changing positions as I'm playing, like this. You hear every single slide in between here, you can actually hear this. Now I can do something, I warn you, this will be annoying. What I'm going to do is try to find those little squeaks in between there, if I can, and I'm going to highlight them. And it'll probably sound annoying like this, but I'm going to try to capture it. For this one, I'm going to turn up the temporary gain just so you can see what's being captured. Hopefully this works. Sorry, that was a bit annoying. There's a little bit too much low information in there, but maybe that's okay. So what we're going to do now, let me just not do all that. I was going to loop it there and try to reduce it using that, but that's going to be super annoying. As before, we're going to move the attack down. We can move the release down. Oh, something else we can do is we can use the look ahead too here. And sometimes that's useful. Let's go here. And as before, we're going to try to reduce this signal. There, I'm not hearing it too much. I was like, oh, that actually did seem to take care of it. Now we'll do the whole thing. We'll unloop it, and let's see if the whole thing sounds good. That's sounding much better. There's other things we can do here with the threshold. We can even adjust the knee. So here you can see what this is doing by moving this up. So that way it's not, completely cutting it off below the threshold. It's just reducing it, and you can maybe move that down or up, etc. And I can change the knee's shape here if you think that's better. And sometimes that will give you better results. With this, as I said, if I do too much, what's going to happen is it's going to cut off lots of the high end. So I don't want to move that threshold up too much. I want to do it to the minimum level that it's acceptable. I don't want to necessarily get rid of all the string noise, because that could alter the audio in a way that you don't like. Although try it. It could alter it in a way you do like. You might, there's too much high end anyways. This fixed it. So there. But let's loop it and play it, and I'll turn the bypass on and off so you can hear before and after. Now, to me, that'd probably generally be acceptable. This technique I would recommend using on individual audio clips. So instead of doing the whole track, you might want to just put it on this clip and render it, and do it on the next clip and render it. Because obviously when you're playing, some clips are going to be perfect. Like, oh, I don't even need this on there. There's no squeaks. And some have a ton of squeaks. Some of them maybe only have one small squeak, and you're like, I can edit that out manually. I don't need to do this. But if you have a long sequence where it's like, oh my God, there's so much squeaking in here. I don't want to spend 2 hours de-squeaking this by cutting it up. You can use this, and it'll save you lots of time and energy. You can clean up your guitar tracks and save yourself some time to do things that you really love when it comes to recording and mixing. So there you go. I hope this has been useful. If it has, leave me a thumbs up. If you have any comments, leave those down below, and make sure you check out all the other products at meldaproduction.com. Until next time, see you.